So yeah, it's probably got a pinned thing from the other day when we were live on the laptop. So it's probably got a pinned comment. So I do apologise if it appears quite a bit. Um, I'm just gonna um, mention tonight's guest here. But yes, for those who don't know who I am Hoppers. I'm the voice and the face of Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs. I've been doing this for 6 years as of this weekend. But as I say, we are having a guest on this evening, so hopefully things go well and people can join us this evening from 8 o'clock. We have Chris Hartley, who some may know him from doing BTCC circuit commentary, like he did at Alton Park over the weekend, and he's also the English commentator for DTM. So we're going to talk about that. I think Chris, in his early years, did some karting, so we're going to figure out what that was all about, and obviously some of a few things. Also, being a beloved Wolverhampton Wanderers fan as well, so hence why I've got the retro shirt on this evening. But yes, we should be all being well and jumping into the live video this evening. But as I say, let's hope we start off at end Thursday very well. As I say, we're doing the 6 year celebration tomorrow. So hopefully, fingers crossed, in a little while we'll get tonight's guest on. But if I need to result to it, then I can technically fire up the laptop if needs be. But it might take me a while to connect to that. But hopefully, touch wood, we don't need to this evening. But as I say, I'm live at the moment for for tonight's guest. But as I say, I'm going to just I might just even while I'm here. Well, I don't know why I've unplugged it, but I might plug. Excuse me, what? Move around. But I might plug in the laptop and then try and jump onto that as well. So yeah, I'm just hoping that people are aware. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to boot up the laptop just in case. Okay, he's not got the link. Da, 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 da. Do I live in a roof? Yes, I do, Kev, yes. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to figure out how I send a link um, to our guest this evening. Give me 1 second. Just give me 1 second while I figure it out. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to have to try and tag. There's one fact, guys. I'm just going to boot up the laptop as well, but that's taken for a while. Don't know how I can send a link to them live because being on the phone and not the laptop. If anyone can copy and paste the link to the Facebook page for me, and then I can, or this live video, then I can easily do it. You know, the laptop wasn't slow. Yeah, I could easily send it. Because the laptop's slow at the moment. Right. Cheers, Kev. Much appreciated, mate. Thanks, bud. Evening, Tracy. How you doing? It's very difficult for me because I can't, you know, share it for some reason while I'm live as well, which is frustrating. Yeah, not too bad, Tracy. I've got a few things ongoing at the moment regarding work. But other than that, I'm doing all right. There he is. He's in. Let's get him here. We'll add you in, Chris, because, you know, you are here now. You might just have to accept it. There we go, Chris. How are you doing, mate?
Hello. Well, I can't see you, so 1 out of 2.
Yeah, well, I think it has Facebook has these glitches where I can't see you and you probably can't see me, but we'll crack on.
It's probably just as well for you if you can't see me.
It's fine, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, great. Sorry, the tech was faffy.
No. Don't
Welcome
apologise
to my
for that.
world.
It is what it is. I have issues every time, and it don't all frustrate me. So don't worry about it.
Good. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, recovered from
Yeah.
another good weekend at BTCC at Alton Park.
It was a bit manic, I think, in my opinion.
It was a bit. Well, it always is Alton Park because you don't start till on Sunday. You don't start till 12, so
Yeah,
it gets a bit busy for the afternoon. It's non-stop.
yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's good. Good weekend though.
Yeah, I think the weather spiced it up in race 3. I think.
I suppose pretty much supposed the whole weekend. I can't remember many sessions where there weren't at least some threat of rain or a little shower or it dried up. So yeah, it made it interesting. I think not all the drivers and engineers like that. I don't think.
No.
Head scratching in the pit lane.
Yeah, I think there's one particular driver. I think Mr. Sutton wanted it to rain, so he got rid of the hards for race 3. Which, people were saying, well, was that really a tactic by him, or was it really team? Well, not team tactics, but his own tactics. But fair play to him. He wanted it to rain because I don't think he likes the hard tyre.
Yeah,
That could be wrong.
I think it was definitely in the plan. Probably for a couple of people thinking of that as well, because even though the forecast was pretty ropey all weekend long, it never did what it was supposed to do. But it always said that once you got to sort of 3-4 o'clock on Sunday, there was a lot more chance of rain. So it made sense to take the risk at least to try and get rid of them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
not
quite
use them.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because my pal Robo used them in race 1, and I thought, oh, he's probably planning a different strategy and stuff like that.
Mm.
But then again, I think because he qualified 15th, I think he was like, well, let's get the hard tyre over and done with and then go from there.
Yeah, it kind of worked for him, didn't it? It went forwards in the second race.
Yeah,
it was quite interesting because obviously Shedden had the same idea, really. He'd saved his soft. He got rid of his hard in the first race from the back of the grid.
Yeah,
He was on. He wasn't very happy with Alan when. Well, not with Alan, but when Alan said about the rain coming, he was like, I can't believe it. I've saved my soft tyres and it's raining. But I thought he drove a pretty fantastic race on front pole.
Yeah, he did well, to be fair. I was thinking, well, was he going to get away and carry on and try and get this win? And then, yeah, he did. So, I think Jake Hill's going to be a bit disappointed, having a bit of a moment, shall we say?
Yeah, he after you wouldn't have seen this unless you were on the start finish straight, and you wouldn't have seen it on the TV coverage, I don't think. But after the race, he came down the pit lane to my end underneath the commentary box by the pit lane exit, and he looked really dejected, like he was stood on the pit wall just staring into space for a little while. It was a big opportunity for probably a good podium gone, really.
Yeah.
Hello to Tracy. I can see the messages now as well. So.
Yeah. If the comments are going too fast, don't worry about trying to catch up. But people probably will say hello to you and stuff like that.
Oh, great!
But yeah, I don't know where we're going to start because you do commentary for BTCC when you can. You do the English commentary for DTM, which I want to know a bit why it's gone GT3. I heard that you did open karting of some sort back in the day.
Back in the Victorian times, yeah.
We can't go that far, mate. Come on.
Well, it feels like it sometimes.
But obviously, we can just have a bit of a chat about whatever you feel comfortable with and what you feel happy with.
Yeah. No, we start with BTCC. I've been lead commentator for 10 years now. 2006. My first day was Ash Sutton's first day on the job. At the media day at Donington Park, where he first sat in a touring car and almost finished the day quickest till Mr. Matt Neal pipped him right at the end of the afternoon. So I've been tied in since then. I do most of the rounds. I usually have to miss a couple a year because I also, as you say, I also do DTM, which I did before touring cars. So yeah, if I sort of contractually obliged to go and do DTM if there's a clash. Unfortunately, there's I think 4 clashes this year, so it's been
Well, it is what it is, isn't it?
yeah, it's been a strange start this year. I couldn't do the first round because it was a DTM. I did Brands Hatch, and then I haven't been back since then until Alton Park. But I've got a run of doing most of the ones in the middle of the season now, apart from Knockhill.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I missed the last round, which is really annoying. But there's another clash.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the way it goes sometimes. The joys of being a freelancer. You wish you could work everywhere at the same time, but you can't.
Yeah, well, you can't split yourself in two because that would be definitely painful to do, wouldn't it?
Quite hard.
But yeah, I remember Snitterton 2023 when I first heard your commentary.
Right.
And I thought, that's a chap I've probably want to get on here because I've been doing this as of 6 years this weekend.
Oh, right, okay.
So I thought, well, I'm trying to branch out and get to know people from different spectrums of motorsport, not just the likes of Matt Neal, Jason Plato, whoever. Jason Plato won't come in here because he's too busy. But but it's just like I want to know different aspects of different people. To be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's lots of people involved in the periphery and different aspects you wouldn't necessarily know how it works. So I'm happy to talk about all of that. Tracy's just asked what was been the most outstanding moment for me in the BTCC. That's tough. There's a lot. A lot.
That's the thing. I just should have warned you. Prepared for killer questions.
Yeah. I'll do my best.
Get them quite a lot.
I think I can tell you my favourite race, and that's quite a tall order because there's a load. But I always remember the race in 2019 at the end of the season, last race of the season, reverse grid race at Brands Hatch, and Ash Sutton and Josh Cook, who of course had been teammates originally when Ash came into BTCC.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And yeah, Josh would have been in the Astra, in the Power Maxed Astra at the time, and those two had just an unbelievable race. I mean, they seemed to overtake each other on every corner. It's one of those races where it's the last race of the season, championship's done and dusted. They're not involved in worrying about points. So just go and race. Great. And passed each other all the time. I've lost count of how many times they overtook each other. And then a proper photo finish at the line. Can't remember how many thousandths of a second, but it was only a couple of inches between them. And they're two, in my opinion, two proper drivers. I mean, obviously Ash is Ash. I mean, he's broken records. He's going to break more, I'm sure. And Josh is a fantastic driver. I always love watching him. I always put him down as one of those brave drivers for me. You watch people at a certain corner, like Paddock Hill Bend, for example.
Yeah.
And he's, the last of the late breakers. And if there's a move on, he'll go on the grass if he has to, he'll go on the curbs. And that's my favourite kind of driver, really, where they just throw caution to the wind and go for it, which is what touring car racing should be. Yeah,
it's fascinating because obviously I've celebrated 26 years of being a fan of that because, it's something I've loved and adored from being a little lad to now 35 years old. And it's like, it's never disappointed me one bit.
No.
There's been times where I've gone like, oh yeah, well, such and such could have done better at this, such and such could have done better at that. But it's never really been a major factor where people have gone and said, well, what is it about BTCC that brings everyone back in their thousands? It's hard to put my finger on it half the time.
I think it's a few things. I think it's the consistency. I mean, you're almost guaranteed there's going to be, there's 3 races, at least 2 of them are going to be really good. You might get the odd one there's not much going on, but there's you're always going to be entertained. I think the way it's set up in terms of the access that the fans have is great, and more championships are following that now. You get some championships where you can't get near the drivers, but obviously we have the pit lane walkabout usually on a Sunday morning. But I see it all the time. You walk around the paddock, the drivers might be walking from the garage to the team bus or the motorhome or somewhere else, and they'll get stopped and ask for a photo or a selfie or an autograph, and they're happy to do it. Really happy to do it. And for the kids especially, like if you've got 4 or 5 year old kids there, they're going to be fans for life because they're meeting their heroes, and it's not often you can do that in any sport.
No, well, you can't do that in F1 unless you're
No.
Like really, which is a big disappointment. But that's why I find Formula One a bit, I hate to say it, but a bit of a bore fest, because you can't really see the drivers and you can't get up and close and personal with the cars.
No.
Whereas BTCC, you can go and do pit lane walkabout. Yes, okay, the cars are getting worked on, but you can see them getting worked on, and you can see what they do to like from the driver's perspective.
Mm.
You know, the amount of times I've obviously I go and catch up with Dan Rowbottom every time I'm there if I can.
Mm.
And he's always like up for a chat. I get to chat to his dad, and I just think, well, you know, I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, it's fantastic.
And that's what I like about the BTCC. The drivers have time. Yes, they rush off their feet sometimes, but they have a couple of minutes.
Mm.
And that's what I really enjoy.
And the fans seem respectful as well. They never seem to, be pushy and asking, when it's obviously not a good time to ask somebody if they've had a bad round or they've got to rush to get to the grid or whatever. So I think it works both ways, which is great.
Yeah. There's some times where you feel like, oh, I'm gonna have to be quick. It's like last year, 24 at Snetterton, Dan was just about to go out for FP2, so I managed to get a quick picture, but that wasn't a problem. I was like, fine, you've got to go. And then I catched him after he won at Snetterton for the first time, my first witnessing his race win this year.
Mm.
And I literally broke down in tears before he came round. After he finished, I was like, oh my God, what have I just seen? And my other half's like, I kept saying to her, is he going to win? Is he going to win? And Jen was like, calm down, he's going to win it. And I was like, can't believe it. It was like, how unreal.
So you're a proper fan.
Yeah, I have been for years. I've watched him 2008 at Croft in the Seat Cupras, and then after that it all went quiet because the budget ran out. And then when he came back in 2019, I sent him a message with his Cataclean t-shirt, and he said, love to catch up if you're ever at a circuit, and we have done ever since. So, and that's what I really like about him.
Yeah, no, I've got a lot of time for Dan. He's a really nice guy. I've kind of got a connection with him because I first watched him race when he was like 10 years old, something like that, when he was karting. Yeah. And he was a really good karter. If you've read his bio, you'll see how many titles he won. And,
he's the same age as well. He's a few months older than me, so that's why I get on with him.
Yeah,
for numerous reasons.
And he's a Midlander, so that always helps.
You can't discontinue that, can you?
Yeah.
If you can tell, I'm wearing the retro one this evening. It kills two birds in one stone. It's got the Goodyear tires on it, and
absolutely.
I was thinking, which one do I wear tonight? Do I wear just a basic Wolves t-shirt, or do I wear the retro one? I thought, the retro one's going to be quite fitting.
Retro, it will be 90s.
Stevie Bull era this one. So.
Oh yeah, the greatest of all time. We won't bore everybody else with it, but
we won't do that.
One of my absolute heroes, all-time sporting heroes. And just quickly before we bore everybody else, I did meet him once. Weirdly, at a countryside garden fete, they'd agreed to host or do some Q&A and present some prizes just in Cutsall, just outside Wolverhampton.
Oh yeah.
And this is after he'd stopped playing. And my mum was involved in organising it somehow. And she said, would you do the Q&A with Steve Ball? I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And do you know what they say? Never meet your heroes. He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He was nice as pie, chatting with him when we weren't working, when we were, walking around. Really, really nice guy. My only regret, Andy, is that I never saw him score a goal live, which is ridiculous, given how many goals he scored. But every time I went to I couldn't go that often at that age. But I used to go a fair bit, and I never saw him score a live goal, which really annoys me to this day. Just going back to Robo, I've got a massive amount of respect for him because he's worked so hard to get to that grid, and I know he's not the only one. But there are a lot of stories like that. But I spoke with Alan Hyde about this probably at the Brands Hatch round, I think, when we were talking about him. And I remember when he was in Clio's at Rockingham, and the weather was awful on the Saturday. He'd done qualifying, and the wind was blowing all the awnings, and he got this little Cataclean awning that he'd set up, and he got all these leaflets and things that he was trying to stop them flying away in the wind, or trying to hold his awning down on his own whatsoever, because he got all these guests coming the next day, and he's just doing that on his own. There's no ego with him at all. Just out there working really hard to make his dream come true. And lots of drivers also do that, and some aren't able to do it because sadly it's not cheap sport, is it?
No, it's not. No. And I think, given obviously this season, he had that obviously open heart surgery at the end of last year. Fair play to him. He wasn't sure what was happening with all that, because 1 minute it was like, he was scheduled for it, then it got cancelled, and then he went in again, and it was like, how long's the recovery? I think fair play to him. And I think this is why everyone enjoys him, because he's a likeable guy. And I think, given, being in his shoes, like obviously trying to make it work, and look what he's done. He's fourth in the championship.
He's had a great start, hasn't he?
Yeah. It was a bit scary at first, thinking, well, this year, because of obviously the bad luck of 2024. It was like, oh, is it going to happen again? I kept shouting at the telly every time when I wasn't trackside last season, thinking, here we go again. A couple of swear words here and there. I even said a few at Snetterton because it didn't go to plan. And it was just like, and then what a difference makes this year. We probably jinxed him now, bless him.
You get runs, though. You get runs in motorsport. It just seems to be, you can do what you want and it'll go wrong every time. It'll be a mechanical issue. It'll be somebody else crashing into you, just some bad luck. You just seem to go on these runs where they all come together and you have 4 or 5 bad meetings. And then, and then eventually it'll come good. Like, if you're good enough, it'll come good. You can't keep having bad luck, but it is annoying. There's not many sports where there's so many other elements that can come into play. If you think about, say, a tennis player, if they lose, it's because either they didn't play as well as they could have, or maybe the opponent just was a bit better on the day. But with racing, you've got 1,000 variables of things that can go wrong with the car. Somebody else can make a mistake and ruin your day. You can make a small mistake, which you can't really get away with. You can get away with a mistake in a football match and still win the game, but you can't in a race because you're off the road and you crash the car. So it's difficult.
There's a lot of factors to take in with the BTCC, which I've noticed throughout the last couple of years. Take, for example, track limits.
Oh, don't tell me. That's about track limits.
Well, track limits is another thing that really annoys me, is when you see it on TSL, like when I was listening to you and Alan Hyde and all that on Soca Live on Saturday, I was like, let's see, such and such has gone off, but now the time's been this long. Oh, it's now for track limits. It's like, oh, here we go, the dreaded track limit.
I think it was a Porsche sprint race at Brands Hatch. Somebody had some track limits warnings and then went off the road into the gravel trap, properly into the gravel trap. I can't remember who it was now. He got back on, but then it pinged the track sensors. So then he got a track limits penalty, 5 seconds. Like,